You're a wizard.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TTV Modcast, episode 27. No who's too tired for the who's. Yeah, I'm recording this pretty late. But yeah, who are you? Who is I? I'm Waj.
I is Slime.
And I'm John Smith.
So, you know what's something a lot of people talk about? Harry Potter. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
I've only watched the movies.
Oh, wow.
Filthy casual. Filthy mudblood.
Like, I saw most of the Harry Potter movies except for the last one. I just haven't got around to it. I think I watched Deathly Hallows Part 1 in, like, the cinemas. So that'll just give you an indication of, like, how long ago that was.
You disappoint me, Waj. Fun fact, part 2 of the series in 2011.
Yep, so I've been putting it off for that long.
I'd also like to note that the first book, known in the UK as Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, known in the US as Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, 1997. That is 19 years ago.
I was thinking that means the epilogue of the last book takes place this year, but that's 19 years after Deathly Hallows. Wait, yes, that does mean the epilogue takes place this year because it's 19 years after Deathly Hallows, and Deathly Hallows takes place in 1997. Ha! I know what I'm talking about.
I thought you knew that. That's been like old news, is that the end of the book series was this year.
Oh, no, I hadn't heard anybody say that.
It was like at the beginning of this year.
I'm out of the loop, I guess.
It's been a while since I've read the books. I've been meaning to get back into them as far as things that are coming out recently, like The Cursed Child's come out, and I didn't bother doing anything with that, but I knew that it was a thing, and like Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is coming out in a little bit. So I figured now is as good a time as any to try to reread the books, because I haven't read them since I was like 10 or 11.
What is The Cursed Child?
It's a sequel, basically.
But it's weird because
It's
what
a
it
time
is,
travel sequel.
it's a time travel sequel, but it's a script for a play. It's not designed to be a book. It's designed to be a play. And so they've released the book version of it, but that's just a script. So it's a bit weird as far as that goes.
Is it just like verbatim a script? Like Harry enters scene 5. It's like, I guess that would work, wouldn't it? But like, instead of saying stage left, they actually say whatever location.
It's an actual Broadway play, right?
I don't know if it's on
Or-
Broadway, but yeah, it's
It's definitely a play of some sort. So it's actually, the script is designed to work. It's not like, oh, it's designed in the style of a script. It's actually literally a script that they just said, hey, let's make the money off of it and sell it as a book.
That's kind of ingenious, actually. I don't know. Are they like songs?
No, I don't think they're a song. If The Cursed Child were actually a musical, I would be like 10 times more excited about it, even though apparently it's terrible.
My sister read it and she said it wasn't great.
What do you guys think of the movies, though?
They're okay.
Yeah,
They have
they're
their
all
ups and
right.
downs.
It's always been interesting to me to see when the directors shift, as far as, you know, like around, what is it, third, fourth book, that things start to get like edgy.
Yeah, I think it's like the third movie, there's a different director. And I guess the tone of the series was also sort of getting more edgier and darker as the series progressed. Like, the first 2 movies are sort of like almost campy in a way. There's some darker elements to it, but there's more fun, happy-go-lucky times. It's like they're playing Quidditch and they find a monster in the bathroom. But then when you get to like movie 3, then there's definitely a tone shift, like Dementors, and just the way that they are portrayed. It's like these soul-sucking dark entities. I think that sort of worked with how the series progressed and like how the tone was changing within the series.
But Waj, you've only seen the movies.
I know, but like, at least from what people have said about it, it seems like the tonal change exists as well in the books. I don't know how true that is. Like, what do you think, book readers?
I don't think it's as apparent as far as direct shifts. I do think it does get darker over time, but I don't think it's as apparent where one movie is like, oh, happy, fun, go lucky, and then the next is like dark and brooding and I'm Batman. Swear to me.
Yeah, he's Potter.
It happens in the books, but it happens a lot more gradually. Like, The third movie feels as dark as like the sixth book.
When did they come out? Like, as far as when did the third movie come out?
The third movie came out in 2004,
2004, and the book released that
the
year.
sixth book came
Yeah,
out.
it was between the fifth and sixth books. So that sounds about right as far as tonal shifts.
That's actually probably my biggest criticism of the movies. Like, you can complain about the first two all you want, but they did a really good job of having like these bright, colorful worlds that were kid-friendly, but were also interesting enough to draw in older people. But then, for some reason, in the third movie, they decided it had to be super dark, and they kept with that for the rest of the series. I think the tone of the first two movies is closer to the tone of most of the books.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that I dislike what they did with the movies. I think the movies are pretty good for what they are, because obviously the movie version of a book is always going to be very different from the actual book itself. It's very rare that a movie comes out where it's an exact replica of the book, because unless that book is designed to be a movie script.
Or a play script. Oh, snap. First child movie coming out.
Wait, is there actually?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised though. I mean, if they were gonna capitalize on the branding, like, it just makes sense.
I've heard rumors that they might, but there aren't any plans to yet, as far as I know. They are releasing a script book for the Fantastic Beasts movie.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's a movie about a guy and he's got beasts and he tells you where to find them. That's the movie.
Yeah, not very much is known about the movie at this point.
What we do know is that it's set in 1926 and it's set in America as opposed to England. You know, between world wars, that era. I always like when movies that aren't explicitly historical in nature go back in time as far as like portraying things. As someone who enjoys history, that's always something that I enjoy. Fantastic Beasts, Where to Find Them, stars Newt Skalamander.
Newt Scamander.
Skalamander.
I'm pretty sure it's Scamander.
Who is Skalamander?
I will bet money that it is Scamander and not Skalamander.
It's not Skalamander, I know that, but I'm trying to figure out why. Oh, that's why, because Skalamander is a villain from Generator Rex. That's why he's in my brain, 'cause I was talking about that earlier. But yeah, Newt Scamander. He has just completed a global excursion to find and document an extraordinary array of magical creatures. Arriving in New York after a brief stopover, he might have come and gone without incident. Were not for no Maj, American for Muggle, named Jacob, a misplaced magical case, and the escape of some of Newt's fantastic beasts, which could spell trouble for both the Wizarding and No Maj worlds. Oh, I get it. No Maj, because it's no magic. I get it.
The other thing I've heard about the movie is that it might tie in with the Dumbledore and Grindelwald conflict. That's part of the backstory of the original books.
That could be interesting. How old is Dumbledore? Because isn't he supposed to be like ancient?
Yeah, about 150, I think.
Oh, I thought he was like way older than that.
He dies in 1996, and I think he's about 150 then.
Is that the typical lifespan for a wizard?
I have no idea.
Or is it just Dumbledore who's special because he's got
I think
I
it might just be because Dumbledore is so powerful, but I'm not really sure.
So basically, the premise is that it's 1920s. There's backstory about Harry Potter. It's in the past. It's cool. I'm excited for it. It comes out on the 18th of November. And also, there are 5 more movies. It's going to become a series. Is it 5?
4 more movies.
4 more movies. Oh, yeah. It's a pentology.
A trilogy in 5 parts.
I actually did not know anything. I didn't even know there was a movie coming out. I don't pay attention to Hollywood. I don't know what's coming out recently. It's more like reboots and remakes of stuff. I think probably in the future, they'd probably try to remake Harry Potter if they can do that. I gotta know how the copyright is right now for that, because like Disney has like a stranglehold on their copyright, but is that the same thing? Does J.K. Rowling have like a vice grip on her copyright?
Pretty much, to my knowledge. I think it's actually Universal Studios that has the vice grip on it.
I think it's Warner Brothers, because they actually...
Is it Warner Brothers?
But yeah.
Are they the same?
No, there's...
Are they consolidated? No?
I don't think so.
Then why is Harry Potter at Universal Studios then?
I guess because Warner Brothers doesn't have its own theme park.
I guess that sort of kills the idea of remakes.
I don't think it
no.
necessarily does. In
I
like
think
20
give
years,
it a
I
couple of
like
years.
the movies will be kind of out of date, and I could see them being remade. My pie in the sky hope is that they'll do kind of I don't want to say Game of Thrones style series because it wouldn't obviously be that dark, but like a TV adaptation with that level of care and attention to detail.
Oh yeah, actually that'd be a really good idea.
That would be very interesting to see because the books have so much more detail in them than the movies do just because they're movies. You can't have every single little episode that happens, whereas with a TV show, you could have something completely different.
Yeah, that format I think just really works for like these long series. I could definitely see like HBO or maybe even Netflix producing something like that, because yeah, that would actually do probably really well. Like if you made each book a whole like season, I could just see that probably happening not in the distant future, maybe.
I don't know. I think the movies are still, like John said, too recent. So I could see it happening in maybe 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
It has to be a little bit of a while because it hasn't gotten to the point where people are like, oh yeah, those Harry Potter movies, they're so outdated now. The last ones just came out like 5 years ago. Back on the topic of Fantastic Beasts, I just want to say that I really like that this is giving more perspective on the Harry Potter universe as a whole, because setting up universes is something that I absolutely love about books. And if it has a good universe to it, then there's a good chance that I'll like a good book. So like with Harry Potter, there's a whole universe, by universe I mean, world, full of wizards and magic and stuff like that presumably exists in all cultures, but we only get one look at one section, and that's the British perspective of the magic world. And it's like, well, what about America? What about like Germany? What about France? What about India? Like, there's so many different places you could go with it. And I think Fantastic Beasts is a great step in that direction, as far as not only is it showing what's happening in the rest of the world, but it's also showing what's happening in the rest of the world in the past, which I really like that concept.
I've thought for a long time that Harry Potter has the potential to become like Star Wars or Star Trek or even Doctor Who with a gigantic expanded universe with like no particular focus around one set of characters.
And I think that is a great thing.
If they were to make a TV show, they could just also make it in the universe of Harry Potter with new characters.
That's what I was thinking, like Wizarding. I was about to say Wizarding High School, but then I realized that that's literally what Harry Potter is.
They could just call it Hogwarts.
Just Hogwarts.
Yeah, the series.
Set in modern day Hogwarts. Oh gosh. Starring on Disney Channel this fall.
Oh no.
Hogwarts, the sitcom.
The thing I'd be a little worried about is the books have such great characters and so many of them. It'd be hard to kind of capture lightning in a bottle twice.
I think Hogwarts is done. I think it'd have to be done very specially to like do Hogwarts again. But like again, there's literally the rest of the world to explore. And just because you start off with one area, you've got this whole universe. What happens in Japan during this time? Like, what about a Japanese ninja wizard?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ninja wizards. Make it happen.
Samurai wizards with guns.
Harry Potter and Ninjago crossover confirmed.
Yep. Definitely. Actually, speaking of which, like, not into system sets, but like, I remember actually a few years ago getting Lego Harry Potter on the DS, and it came with like this one Harry Potter minifigure of Harry, and that is today my only minifigure.
That's your only minifigure?
Pretty much, yeah. I don't own anything like in terms
Ow.
of system.
How do you avoid system?
I just do. I don't buy anything really. I've been almost exclusively just Bionicle or Technic stuff. The only system sets that I have are like the Bionicle system sets back in 05. So yeah.
I never actually watched any of the movies or read any of the books until fairly late on in the series, as far as like around 2007, 2008. But I had this set when it came out. And this was the only Harry Potter set I ever got, was Slytherin. As you can see, we've got the best characters. Draco Malfoy, Ron Weasley as
it's either Crab or Goyle. I can
It's
never
Crab.
keep
It's
them
Crab.
straight.
I think Goyle is Harry. They've got two faces to them, so you could flip them around and be like, "Oh, the polyjuice potion wearing off. Wait a second, this can't be right. This set came with a sword. I had a sword and I never knew about it. Did I lose it? I have all these parts, and I know, relatively speaking, where they were because I remember having all these parts. I do not remember having that sword. Huh? Rip." Apparently I was just a bad child. But yeah, all these sets were really cool in that I think they were modular and that you could build the whole Hogwarts out of it. They weren't totally modular, but there were Hogwarts sets released afterwards, but they were all one set. Whereas these were all
They released three or four
different
different
sets.
Hogwarts Castle sets.
Basically one for every year that the movies came out.
If you could be in a house, which one would you be in?
Go check out the new topic on TTV message boards. What's your Hogwarts house? Created by our own John Smith, the oldest and frumpiest of all the moderators.
Yeah, I actually took the quiz and I got Gryffindor.
I think most of us as mods would get Gryffindor probably. I feel like the qualities you need to be a good mod align with the traits of Gryffindor.
I've always thought of myself more as a Hufflepuff, but that's being ignorant and probably... I haven't taken the quiz yet, but I'll probably be Gryffindor. Which is awful because I feel so, mainstream. It's like, oh, Gryffindor, look at me.
I'd probably pick Ravenclaw, but I mean, that's also the next sort of thing with mainstream stuff. It's yeah, everyone wants Gryffindor, but Ravenclaw is pretty cool.
And then Slytherin is the edgy kid.
Yeah, the edgy.
Slytherin's the edgy one.
And then Hufflepuff is the special snowflakes. So no matter which house you do, you can't win.
I'm kind of borderline between Gryffindor and Ravenclaw. Something I read earlier today, actually, that I thought was interesting was that basically the idea is the house you get sorted into isn't based on necessarily your external characteristics, but more on what you value internally. So a lot of people think Hermione should be in Ravenclaw because she's smart. And obviously, smart people always wind up in Ravenclaw. But really, that was meant to be sarcastic. It didn't really come off that way. The idea is that basically Hermione values friendship and bravery more than she values intelligence, even though she is really smart. And so that's why she's in Gryffindor.
All right. Yeah, goodbye, everyone.